Hello, hello, Aurora. Here we are. Today we changed a little bit, make it interesting. We are recording from Café 1888 in Aurora, brand new place. About 3 months they have opened. It's right on Lincoln Street, Lincoln Avenue, right where the old Rush Copley was at. That's right. So today here we have a wonderful special guest honor wonderful person, Baxtie Rodriguez with City Home Inspectors. And today we're going to focus on why home inspection is important during a home purchase. So with that said, Baxtie, thank you for being present. Thank you for honoring us with your presence. How you doing today?
Good, good. Thank you for having me here, Aron. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming by. And tell me, why is it important to have a home inspection?
Okay, it's really, really important for buyers, first-time home buyers, investors, any kind of buyer, to have a home inspection so that you can understand what you're buying. You want to know what you're getting into. You want to make sure that the home is safe. You want to make sure that if there's any maintenance issues or equipments that are breaking down, that you have the budget to repair those things if it's coming in the near future. So it's just a wise way of purchasing a home, just like when you buy a car. You're going to drive the car before you buy it. So inspect the home before you buy it.
That's very, very important. That's one thing I tell buyers. Be sure you do a home inspection because sometimes you don't know what the seller might be hiding.
Sure.
Not to bash sellers or homeowners,
Right.
but sometimes if you're not in the industry, you don't know.
Sure.
Sometimes you don't stay up to the codes
Right.
or certain things, and that's why when you're going to purchase, I tell them, hey, it's not necessary, but I really, really recommendable that you do because the home inspector is going to come in. And they're going to say, you know what, maybe that's only going to ask you one more year or a few months. So that's something you got a budget, or we're going to try to ask closing cost credits.
Right.
And I'm like, unless you're like in construction and all that, and you know it, okay.
Sure.
If you want to waive it, okay.
Right. But for the purpose of using it as a negotiating tool.
Yes.
Definitely. So there's different kinds of buyers and different kinds of reasons, right? So one way you want to say, hey, I want to get I want to make sure that I get all that I'm supposed to help me repair these things. We don't know if buyers have a lot of money. We don't know how much. We don't know their financial status. So this just helps them get the credits that they need to help them pay for it, and they're not in a financial situation. This is the biggest purchase of one's life is your home. You're buying hundreds of $1,000s worth of property, right? And so if you have a foundation issue or backup issue with your line from the house to where it meets the city, that's a sewer line. That's a $12,000 and up fix. Do you have that money? If you need a new heating system, it depends on just the condenser or the furnace or the whole duct system. That could be anywhere from $2,000 to $20,000. Do you have that money? So it's just wise to prepare yourself for what's coming in the near future.
And all those are the reasons why home inspection is really, really important. All those reasons that she just said. What are the other services that city home inspectors offer?
They're called ancillary services. So our additional services are called ancillary services. We offer radon, and radon is a test of the gases that are coming into the house. Radon is a gas that comes into the house, comes from earth. Every home has a certain level of it. We just want to make sure it's not a dangerous level of it. So we test for radon. We test for mold. Every house, again, has a certain level of mold. And we want to make sure you don't have the dangerous level of mold. And that's really for that person or that family that maybe have health issues with asthma, elderlies or children. It's important to test for mold if you're in that situation. We do test for lead paint. If the home was built in the 1970s, there's chances that the paint they use have lead in it.
Older?
Older homes, yeah, like this beautiful place. If we see chip paint, there's a good chance that paint has lead in it, and lead is very toxic to children and women who are pregnant. Because children have a habit of putting their hands in their mouth. So they touch the windowsills, they touch the walls, and everything goes in their mouth, right? So that's why it's important to test for lead. We do test it's not a test, but we do inspect the line from the house to where the line meets the city, the sewer line. And we look for cracks in the sewer line. Again, this is a huge expense, and this is something that every inspection should come with. Every buyer should order the sewer inspection because it's very expensive, and most people wait till there's a problem. They wait till the backup. There's the storms come and you have water in your basement that creates mold that damages your material. You're talking a whole basement has to be ripped, and there are many times that a client refused to accept that service. Or hire for the service, and it happens within a couple months. I get that phone call. And that's why I think that's one of the most important is your sewer line, and then your radon is also a very important test. We also do termite. We inspect for termite, and we just make sure that the house isn't. We look where we have to in the attic, in the basement, wherever there's exposed wood, and we look for signs of termite, and we do find that quite often in the city of Chicago, and the nearby suburbs.
Okay. One of the points that you were just telling us, I want to go to the sewer aspect of it. Yeah. How much is a inspection to?
Well, we discount them. It is $355 if you call us just to do only sewer line inspection. If you include it with the home inspection, we reduce it to $299.
You hear that, people?
Yes.
Hear that? You're saving yourself a lot of money right at the beginning, because if you wait till that last minute, once you're in it, how much you say we're talking? Maybe the worst
in the thousands. We're talking anywhere from $2,000 to $20,000, depending on what city you're in. The city of Chicago is a little bit higher, and depending on how far it is, where it's at. But the other thing too is if the damage is on the side of the city and not under your property, well then that's something you can approach the city to pay for. So it's a lot of things that we can help you find.
It's better to be safe than sorry.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest purchase you're doing in your life. Yeah. So take all the right steps to get it as perfect as possible. Radon. What is radon? And one question before I let you answer. One of my past buyers, and this is right in the beginning when I was starting in real estate, told me, well, the house I want to get, I don't want a basement, so that means it's not going to have radon, right? So I'll let you answer on that stuff. Yeah.
So if you have a crawl space and your crawl space is not covered with a vapor barrier, and not just any vapor barrier, it needs to be a certain thickness of plastic. Really? You don't just throw plastic down there and say, okay, we're free, we don't have to worry about radon. No. It has to be sealed properly, and the thickness of the plastic needs to be, there are a lot of radon people doing no less than 6 millimeter, at 6 millimeter, which is unfair because the standard is 12 millimeter thickness, right? But the best is 20 millimeter. So that's where radon comes from across spaces. So the closest you are to the grounds, that's where the livable space. Now, if you're living on the second floor, maybe we're okay, because you're still living on the first floor. But like condos on the second or the third floor, maybe it's okay not to do the radon. But if you're livable space, you're hanging out on the first floor, you're close to that ground, and that's where radon comes from. It comes from the ground. It comes through cracks. It comes through drains. It comes from any kind of cracks that you can find, even on a slab. We will find it. It does have tested for radon. So it doesn't matter what kind of basement you have. But you do every time. One of the triggers for us is we see a dirt basement, crawl spaces, that's dirt, and it's not covered with vapor barrier, we're automatically going to recommend that. I mean, we recommend it 100% anyway.
Yes,
but when
yes.
we see that, those are the trigger points. If we have a sump pump or ejector pump that's not properly sealed, well, that's an entry point for radon. There's cracks throughout that you don't even see. So it's really important that you do test for radon. And radon, it causes cancer, and that's why it's important.
We don't want that. We don't want that. That's why it's really, really important.
And can I add one thing?
Go ahead,
If we test for radon and the house has high unsafe levels of radon, it is to the best interest of the seller to add that equipment in there. How much is that equipment? It can run anywhere between $1,500 to $2,000 on a regular 1,500 to 2,500 square foot home, right? So that $1,500 to $2,000 that I can save you if you test for it, because it is to the best interest of the seller to add that and create that safetiness for the buyer. Because it does become, I do have to report to the state. The state wants a report of all of my findings. So it does become public records. So it is to their advantage to install that equipment, and also they have to disclose it to the next buyer.
They do. I see that on when I'm showing houses and this and that.
Yeah.
But you just hear people. She's the real deal. She does everything to the book, to the T, and that's the person you want to have as inspector. So they look for your best interest, and as you just heard, your health. Do not play with it. Do that radon test. The worst case scenario, you don't want someone in your family, your loved one, kids, grandma, with cancer. So that's something you don't play around with. So with the other question, you said sewer, you said radon, mold. Again, just from my brief experience, because I know you have way more experience than I do. And what are the different type of molds? Because I have learned a little bit that there's like white mold, black mold, and is there a difference between all of them?
There is all different colors. They white, gray, purple, black. They say the black is the most toxic, but it all depends. And that's why the lab test is really important. Because the lab test will say how dangerous of levels it is. Again, every house has some form of mold. You can't, it's got something in it. But we just want to make sure it's not dangerous levels. Now, when we do the test, we take the samples, and you need two samples. You need an exterior and an interior. And then we take those two samples to the lab. And then the lab will give us the report. And then the report will tell you exactly what allergens are in there. Maybe you're allergic to a certain pathogen, right? And you'll know exactly what that is. And this way you'll know. Some people are allergic to certain plants. And the report will tell you this is where it's high level, concentrated level of this. And then that person, that's why I say it's usually for that person that has asthma issues, because they already know, excuse me, most of the time they know what they're allergic to. And then it'll tell you this is the type of mold you have in there, and this is where it's at kind of dangerous levels. So.
Wow.
Now, how does mold form? It forms in moisture areas, right? Areas that doesn't ventilate properly and it's moist. Such as attic, right? So if we have, and that's why the home inspection comes into play, right? Because we look for where your exhaust fans are terminating. They're terminating into the attic, right? They should be terminating outside. But if they're terminating into your exhaust, your bathroom exhaust, your kitchen exhaust is going, that moisture, especially your bathroom, that's a shower. When you turn on the shower, and so you have that moisture that's dumping into your attic. And that attic is not properly ventilated. That is a perfect house for mold to grow. So I'll find it, but you have to make sure that you kind of kill the way it's forming. You address the ventilation. You address the moisture. You make sure that exhaust fan is going outside. You make sure that a lot of times this insulation covers your soffit vent. So you need to push that insulation back so that the air can flow. We have to give it ventilation, right? And then you have to cure whatever moisture is coming. And in this case, this example, it's the exhaust fan dumping into the attic. It could be a hole in the roof that's creating that moisture. So it's just really important that you address the reason why the mold got there first, and then the mold will die. The mold will die.
There you go. That's how you know you're really dealing with a professional person, knows her craft, and it's not BSing you. So thank you again for being
You're
here,
welcome.
being present.
Mhm.
And then the last thing, lead. Is there a certain way they test for it?
Same thing, lab.
Uh-huh.
We take it to the
Okay.
lab. We take
Okay.
samples, and we take a lot of samples.
Okay.
But we do have to scrape, so we do need the
Just
okay.
scrape it, not,
we
not,
have
not kill the wall.
no.
I know the reason I ask. I know it sounds funny. Again, when I first started doing real estate, you're new and you don't know nothing, and it's a lot of information. So I asked my manager broker, and she's like, "No, they gotta drill holes in the wall," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I just been going off what she told
Right,
me,
right,
maybe back.
yeah, yeah.
That's the way it was done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no. We scrape areas where it's not going to be noticeable,
Okay.
but we do need a certain amount of paint so
Okay.
that the lab could do its proper testing.
Okay.
Yeah, and we take 5 different samples in different areas. It's $350
Okay.
for 5 samples, and if you want more samples, we could do more. The bigger the house, sometimes you need more, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's important too, because it'll say if we have toxic lead in the paint, and if you have a baby, you really want to know.
Yeah.
You really want to know.
Yeah. I heard. friends-
Especially when you're, not especially, but in addition to if you're a landlord and you're buying a multifamily and you're renting to a family with children, that is a huge lawsuit for you.
Yeah.
And when you are a landlord, you are a business owner as well. And you got to, make sure your home is safe for your tenants.
Yeah, that point you just made. Had a few friends back similar the scenario. They were renting and they found out because one of her baby's daughters,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, had lead. He kind of licked it, and
Yeah.
it was.
How do they find out? Through the testing when they do the blood test for school examinations,
Okay.
and that's where they find the lead, and that's what triggers it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so something you don't play around with your health.
Mhm.
Gotta really address that and take care of it.
And I want to also say another thing. In all these services, mold, radon, lead, let's say it's negative, or it's unhealthy, and we don't mitigate. So you never want the same person who tests to mitigate, because testing is only a couple $100. Mitigation or remediating it goes into the thousands. So you always, it's a conflict of interest, in my opinion, to hire the same person to test and remediate and then test again. So you want a tester to be the third party. Yeah. So it's best. And I had an experience with this just recently that I was testing the home. I was inspecting the home. I just came out of the attic. I knew they had mold, and as soon as I came down, another inspector came, and then he says, "Oh, I'm here for mold." For the mold, and I go, "Oh, great," because I did find evidence of mold, in the attic. So obviously the seller knew, but this gentleman was saying, "Oh, it's not mold," and he didn't even go upstairs. He didn't even test. He just already came in pitching that it's not mold. Because he's trying to help the seller. So it's really, really important that you hire your own testers, and then a separate remediator, and then another. It could be the same tester, it could be us, it could be someone else. It doesn't matter. Just you don't test. The same person shouldn't cure it and test it at the same time, because it's a conflict of interest.
Wow. So we're going to change a little bit more of a tune. Thank you for educating us and educating the audience, everyone who's watching us. I know from a little bit that I know about you. You do other stuff as well at home inspections. But tell us, who is Baxtie Rodriguez? Who is City Home Inspectors? And how did your whole story begin into this? All the stuff that you're involved. Yeah.
So I'm heavily in real estate. I started in year 2001.
Wow.
And so before real estate, before 2001, I was in the corporate world. And the remember the dot-com industry? So the dot-com industry folded and laid everybody off. And so I had an opportunity to go and find another job. At the same time, my unfortunate is that I did go through a divorce. At the same time, I lost my job and I went through a divorce, and I needed a job that I had 3 children, small at the time, and single, no job. So I had 3 children, and I needed a job that was flexible, because I really, really couldn't afford the daycare center. So that's really 3 kids, daycare. I mean, it was like all the money was going to go to daycare, and it didn't make any sense. And so my real estate journey began with the need of having a job that's flexible and that pays well. And it wasn't a love for any of it. It was just the convenience of having a flexible job and a job that other clients understood and didn't mind that I brought my kids with me. And that's the sole reason. I didn't know I was going to fall in love. You know, I fell in love with real estate, and that's what happened. So after a year and I went straight for my managing broker. I've always had that entrepreneur spirit, and I knew I was going to be my own, shop, right? So I never took the realtor course. You have to take the realtor, then you go to managing broker course. So I went straight to the managing broker, got my managing broker license, and I was a managing broker right away. Wow. I started with RE/MAX as a realtor, but I went into managing broker within, really within the year. And so, and then I had to sell my house, right? Because I couldn't afford this big house, and I haven't gotten commissions yet. So it took a year for me to start getting commissions, and it was my own house that I started selling, right? Wow. That was my first sale, was my own house. So I sold my house so that I could buy a condo because I needed something more affordable. Sold the house, bought a condo, and then within 3 months after buying the condo was really too small. 3 kids and me in a 2-bedroom, 800 square foot condo. It was very small. I did remodel it, like put $5,000. I bought it for $65, put $5,000 into it, and I did remodel it. A friend came and visit. And I'm trying to make the story short, long story short. So,
you're good. I'm enjoying this.
A friend came to visit and she says, I love what you do. I love what you did with this property. Can you sell it to me? She was single. She goes, this is a good space for me. Obviously, it's too tight for you. And then I said, okay, I bought it for $65. I put $5 in it. So my investment was $70. I sold it for $130. So that's what, a 90%, 95% rate of return. And since that year, that light bulb of being a flipper, that light bulb turned on. And I said, wow, I made that much money within 3 months. And from that point on, and this was year 2002, till today, my kids lived with me. We would go into a house, and we would remodel it, sell it, go to the next house.
Yeah. Did they get tired?
Oh, sure, sure.
I know how kids can be sometimes. Mom.
Yes, and my parents, they're kind of old school, and they said, oh, you need to be stable, you need to stay in one place. But I said, home is stable. Wherever we are together is stable. And I had to survive. So this was my act of survival. And again, I didn't know I was going to fall in love with that.
You're a hustler.
Yes. So I fell in love with being a managing broker and flipping properties. Okay. So as I continue flipping properties, and everyone knew that I'm flipping, and I start opening up to becoming a GC, and I GC'd for many people. And then as a GC, I said, I need to, because as a GC, we're just managing all the crew, the contractors, right? We're not the one with the ham, nails. We're not the one doing the actual job. We're just managing, we're the brains, right? So when I would get my inspections from the city, I said, you know what, I need to learn what they should be looking at, or how they should be doing it. And that's where home inspection came into play. Yeah, and then so 9 years, I'm on my 9th year with my home inspection business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you let the public know? I know I've been
repeating. 9th year, I'm at the 9th year with my home inspection.
What is the name of your company so people can look it up on social media?
Yes, City Home Inspectors is the name of my company. We have lots of reviews, look it up in Google, and lots of 5-star reviews. And we love it. We fell in love with our company, and we're happy to be here. So cityhomeinspectors.com. If you want to book us, the best way to book us is online. You can use discount code online 247, but www.cityhomeinspectors.com is where you want to go.
And your company is on social media?
Everywhere.
Okay.
We're on Google. We're on Facebook. Google and Facebook are primary, but you will find us on LinkedIn as well. Okay. But mostly it's Google and Facebook.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. You just wow me right now.
Thank you.
Just let it know out here to the public. One day, hopefully, I'll be right there where.
Oh, you are. You will be. You're a great realtor.
You're an inspiration.
Yeah.
You're inspiration.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I really appreciate you as a realtor, because it's really a blessing to find a realtor that matches our ethics. Right? We really care about our clients. We want to make sure that our clients are protected, and it's our duty, our state duty, to always look after the best interests of the clients. And it's really a blessing to find realtors that really, really live by that and match that with us. So we're happy to work with you too.
So, anything more you want to add before maybe we leave, or anything maybe you want to, I don't
Oh,
know?
I can tell you a little bit about our process. We're very, we use technology to the fullest, right? So all of our tools are high-end tools, and we do a lot of automation and a lot of communication. Maybe we over-communicate, but I'd rather over-communicate than
Yes.
under-communicate.
Yes.
So I may annoy a couple people, especially some realtors, because they get a lot of communications from me, but again, I'd rather communicate than under communicate. So we are sometimes, if the house is bigger, we will send more than one inspector at no additional charge. So we keep it under 2 hours, not because we're rushing, because I don't rush. I do 2 inspections a day, maybe I'll do 3, but I keep enough time in between inspections so that I can take the care of the clients. I want to make sure I'm there until all the questions are answered and they're happy. And then we go to the next one. But we do, if the bigger the house, the more inspectors we send, and we do not charge more for that. And you do get I want to say most of the time you get the reports same day, but sometimes we get these big commercial. We've done hospitals, we've done churches, and we've done 20,000 plus. So when it's bigger like that, then we do need a little bit more time to clean up the report, because we have 5 people on site, so we need to clean it up. But yeah, so you got good efficiency and good communication and rapid reports without losing quality.
Exactly, because when you're in a home purchase or any kind of real estate transaction, time is of essence.
Yes.
So thank you for pointing that out. So thank you for being here. I just want to say hopefully we can do this again. And that's it, Aurora. You heard her, Baxtie Rodriguez with City Home Inspectors. Did I say that right?
Yep, City Home Inspectors. Yes.
Look at them on Facebook,
LinkedIn.
Google. Look at the reviews, and you heard her. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.